Okay, Sean, so today we're going to be talking about how you can get some good deals on Kijiji. So how did you get started?
Well, we pulled some data, obviously, and we regularly check in on the secondhand economy and see what the trends are. And obviously, this time of year, it's almost winter sports season. So one of our biggest sellers right now is winter sports gear. And so we brought in a sample of what we have, and you know, obviously here in Hamilton, there've been 2,000 ads currently live for sporting goods, specifically for winter, currently on Kijiji. So we brought a sample of the ones that you can find on Kijiji. I
have to full disclosure, I have to admit to you that it scares me to buy used equipment because other people's feet and like sweat is in that equipment. So how do you get past that? Well,
you have to make sure that the item is clean when you buy it, and if not, you really have to give it a good sanitizing once you have. Obviously, when it comes to the most turnover happens with kids' gear.
Oh, for sure.
And so those kids really don't sweat a whole lot, and they barely wear them for a whole season. So obviously, with kids' skates, you're going to have less of an issue with that. And gear in general, I mean, you just want to make sure it's been cleaned and sanitized, and there's a number of ways you can sanitize them to really remove any germs and smells or anything like that. But if you, anytime you buy anything, you should check the condition, and that includes any irreparable damage or really bad stench in the case of hockey gear.
Yeah, exactly. And you were mentioning kids, and when you're buying sports equipment, especially for kids, you know, this might be the only way that they would get into it, because I remember when I bought my full hockey gear, it cost me over $500, and I bought a lot of new stuff, but I got a lot of stuff on sale. This would cut your costs a little bit.
Absolutely, and we found that the average Canadian gives new life to, on an average, 76 items per year. Wow. In the secondhand economy, and so obviously hockey parents are probably contributing to that number an awful lot. That's because their kids are outgrowing their gear so quickly, and they, you know, and it's so great that you can save money, because hockey is an expensive sport, and you know, you go through several hockey sticks a year, you go through gear almost every season, so it's a good way to not only save money when you're buying, but also to recoup some money if you want to sell your gear after your kid's done school.
So if you're a little bit worried like me, how do you, when you make that transaction, how do you break it to the gently? Like, you can look at some of these, like this one, these pair of skates here, they look like they've got a couple of scuffs. They look on the outside like they're okay, and you want to try them on and such. But if you know that a pair of skates look kind of sketch, how do you negotiate that with your seller?
With your well, I mean, yeah, it's the condition is usually how the price is set. Obviously, if you're going to meet with someone and they have a pair of used skates and they're not even close to a good condition, even if you still want those items, you should really look at bartering the price down. And that's the wonder of Kijiji. You can pull up your iPhone app and show him that, you know, that the skates are going for $40 a pair on average for that type of condition, and because we have the inventory, you can see that.
Okay.
So most people wouldn't even bother contacting someone who has their skates overpriced, because there's so much inventory and they could see how the price sort of varies.
Then do you have any advice for people who are going to meet, because really you're meeting up with a stranger, how do you make that transition safe?
No, there's a number of things that you can do to protect yourself when you're shopping on Kijiji. It's just important that you, some things are common sense, obviously. You never want to send money to anybody over the internet or, you know, via PayPal or any of those other.
Meet at a coffee shop or
yeah,
something.
Exactly. Meet in a public place and transact. And if you're going to a place where you may not feel as comfortable, you can bring a friend as well. That helps your situation.
Oh, that's a good point.
And obviously you want to always deal in cash. Whenever possible, and then and obviously if a deal seems too good to be true, like a pair of brand new tack skates that are usually $300
for actually wore
and you know, for $20, then you can probably assume that it's too good to be true.
Okay, perfect. Well, you know what? I have to admit, when we first started, Sean, I was a little bit scared, but now I think that, you know, I have a niece that could probably fit in these, so I might have to make you a deal.
Well, no? Everything's for sale.
Everything's for sale? Well,
absolutely.
Good. Well, thank you so much for teaching me how to shop.
Thanks for having me.
Without fear.